What's up? What's happening? What is going on? Being a backup quarterback in the NFL really isn't so bad whatsoever. You make 6 or 7 figures a year to basically hold a clipboard. And if you have to fill in for the starter, nobody really expects you to do much of anything. So no pressure there. Some NFL quarterbacks actually become memorable or even legendary after going from bench warmer to starter. These are the 10 best performances by a backup quarterback. Quick stipulation here. For this list, we didn't include guys like Kurt Warner in '99 or Tom Brady in 2001, who became full-time starters throughout the season and then throughout their careers. We're basing our list off of backups who only filled in for a very brief time during one specific season. And a huge shout out to Mason Werschitzinger for suggesting this video. Jimmy Garoppolo, week 1 of 2016, with Tom Brady being suspended for the first 4 games of 2016 because of Deflategate, Jimmy G had a daunting task: beat the defending NFC runner-up Arizona Cardinals on the road. Challenge accepted, because Jimmy G is really pretty and can do anything.
How fantastic was that? The mobility has been a bigger and bigger factor as we've gone along in this game, scrambled around, bought some time.
Garoppolo completed 24 passes for 264 yards and 1 touchdown. A year and a half later, the San Francisco 49ers made him a $137 million man. Life's good for Jimmy G. Tim Tebow, week 7, 2011. Kyle Orton was struggling and the Broncos were in straight up free fall, so just hand it over to touchdown Jesus for week 7 against the Miami Dolphins. And Tim Tebow, of course, did not disappoint.
Even though no one blocked Jason Taylor. Second down, 16 for Tebow. Here comes Starks. There goes Tebow. Good move by Burnett.
Denver won in overtime. Tebow tossed 2 touchdowns and added 59 rushing yards. Denver would go from 1-4 to 8-8, winning the AFC West, plus a wild card game against the Steelers. Tebow mania ran wild on you. Nick Foles, 2017 NFC Championship. Once Carson Wentz tore his ACL in week 14 against the Rams, the Eagles' Super Bowl hopes were over. So we thought. Doug Peterson turned to Nick Foles to save the season, facing the Minnesota Vikings and their top-ranked defense, ranked defense in the 2017 NFC Championship game. Foles delivered a historic performance.
Xavier Rhodes on the bench, not out there on 3rd down and 10. And Foles able to get away and throw. Pass is caught. Jeffrey, touchdown.
26 completions for 352 yards and 3 touchdowns. High pressure environment against the league's best defense. No problem. He'll be on the list again. Jason Garrett, 1994. Today we know Jason Garrett as the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys. People forget he was also a backup quarterback during their 90s dynasty years. The Cowboys looked doomed in their 1994 Thanksgiving game against the Packers. Troy Aikman had to sit out due to a thumb injury, and then backup quarterback Ronnie Pete also couldn't play because of a thumb injury. Crazy thumbs over there in Dallas. So what did Jason Garrett do?
Entering the 3rd quarter, then Jason Garrett made it look easier than pumpkin pie.
That's a pretty good throw by Jason Garrett. That's a great throw by Jason Garrett.
He did not have a big arm. And I remember being really surprised.
Yeah, he just tossed 311 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dallas won 42-31. Jeff Hostetler, Super Bowl 25. The Giants' Super Bowl hope looked dim after Phil Simms went down with an injury. But the backup in Jeff Hostetler, he managed to get a Super Bowl 25 appearance against the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills had a lethal offense and great defense, and there was really no real hope for the Giants defense to hold off Jim Kelly for so long. We needed a little offensive performance. Osler finished with 20 completions for 222 yards and a touchdown. The Giants did the rest. Honestly, I'm not sure if I pronounced his name right the entire time. I wasn't born for Super Bowl 25. Doug Williams, Super Bowl 22 with Jay Schroeder hurt. Doug Williams received a handful of playing time throughout the 1987 season. Schroeder couldn't stay healthy, so Williams was named the Redskins starter for the playoffs. Williams and the Redskins faced John Elway and the Broncos in Super Bowl 22. Most expected John Elway to win because it's John Elway, but Williams stole the show.
Faked out everybody. He's got Sanders in the clear at the 10. Touchdown, Washington Redskins. We are seeing a virtuoso performance. Get another one.
Listen to this stat line. Williams tossed 340 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Redskins romped is a good word, the Broncos 42-10. Doug Williams ended up winning the Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. Don Strock, the 1981 AFC divisional round. The Chargers and Dolphins faced off in that divisional round that I just mentioned. Tough for me to think about a time when the Dolphins were actually in the divisional round of a playoff, but hey, look where we are. This game was an instant classic thanks in large part to an iconic performance by this Dolphins backup, Don Strock. The Chargers led 24-0 after the first quarter. Don Shula brought Strock off the bench and replaced the struggling David Woodley. Strock took advantage of his moment in that spotlight.
Play left.
Hard throw. Look at that!
He completed 29 passes and had 403 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Chargers won the game in overtime, but Strock's epic performance was one of the best in backup quarterback history. Frank Wright, 1992 wild card round. The Bills looked doomed. They trailed the Houston Oilers 27-3 in the 1992 wild card round. Jim Kelly left the game with a knee injury. Frank Wright replaced Kelly, and it turned out to be just fine. The Bills trailed 35-3 at one point, but do not count them out.
Look at the throw. Rolls out. Throws down there is Reed at the 5. In for the touchdown.
Wright finished with 289 yards and 4 touchdowns. The Bills won 41-38 in overtime. Woo! Matt Flynn, Week 17 of 2011, with the Packers securing the top seed in the NFC. Aaron Rodgers sat out the team's Week 17 contest against the Detroit Lions. Backup quarterback Matt Flynn was a pending free agent. This was his chance to shine, and he didn't let it go.
Donald, a driver to the end zone.
Flynn finished with 480 passing yards and a whopping 6 touchdowns. Both became Packer franchise records. He got a $20.5 million contract from the Seahawks in the offseason, though he never actually became a full-time starter. Nick Foles, Super Bowl 52. It seemed like way too many people were crowning the Patriots as Super Bowl 52 champions before kickoff. Not many people outside of Philly, including myself, were giving the Eagles, I'm mad at myself, the Eagles a chance to win the game. But in the Super Bowl, Nick Foles and Doug Peterson found countless ways to outsmart Bill Belichick.
And they're going to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Foles finished with 28 completions for 373 yards and 3 touchdowns, leading the Eagles to their very first Super Bowl championship. And with that, Foles won Super Bowl MVP. What other great performances from backup quarterbacks should we have listed? I'm sure there's a couple. Cleo Lemon for the Miami Dolphins. Sage Rosenfeld. Until next time, I'm Mike Annalupo. Thanks for watching.